In this lesson, how to use the MACD indicator, the learning objectives are: you should know how the MACD indicator is calculated. You should know what MACD crossovers are. And you should know what MACD divergences are. MACD is an acronym for Moving Average Convergence and Divergence. This technical indicator is based on moving averages. This means that it's ideal for analyzing momentum and finding trend following entries. It also works well as an additional momentum tool and momentum filter for your trading. The MACD is made up of different time-scaled moving averages. The different moving averages generate trading signals as they converge, cross, and diverge. The MACD indicator also shows the perceived strength of a downward or upward movement in price. As the MACD indicator is an oscillator but doesn't measure on a fixed scale, you can use the extreme values to enter trades, just like you do for the RSI and almost every other single indicator. As the price nears the upper extreme values, traders will assume that the currency pair is overbought, which will mean that it's a good opportunity to enter a sell position. And if it nears the lower extremes, you can assume that the pair is oversold, and so it will become a good opportunity to enter a buy position. So let's look at what the MACD indicator actually is made up of. The individual components of the MACD indicator include the MACD line. The MACD line is the heart of the indicator and is shown as the blue line on the screen now. And by default, it's the difference between the 12-period exponential moving average and the 26-period exponential moving average. This means that the MACD line is basically a complete moving average crossover system by itself. The MACD line fluctuates above and below a zero level as the invisible exponential moving averages converge, cross, and diverge. The signal line is the 9-period exponential moving average of the MACD line. So it's the average of the last 9 periods of the faster MACD line. And it plots it out as our slower moving average. This smooths out the original line and giving us a more accurate line to help us enter and exit trades. And you have the MACD histogram, which is shown as the bar charts on the screen, and it is simply the MACD line minus the signal line. When a crossover occurs, the histogram temporarily disappears, as you can see on the chart now, as there's no difference between the lines at the time of the cross. As a new trend emerges, the MACD line starts to diverge away from the signal line, and the histogram gets bigger and bigger as the trend gains strength. This is called a MACD divergence because the faster moving average is moving away from the slower moving average. Just remember, the MACD line is the faster moving average and is blue, and the slower moving average, the signal line, is yellow. And as the moving averages get closer to each other, the histogram gets smaller. This is called the MACD convergence because the faster moving average is converging, getting closer to the slower moving average. For the MACD indicator, the values of 12, 26, and 9 are given as the default parameter settings, as I mentioned earlier. And depending on your needs, you can come up with different parameters. I personally would increase the responsiveness of the indicator if you would like to do intraday trades. I would suggest using a 3, 10, and 16. This refers to the settings for the moving average period, the MACD line, and the signal line. The effectiveness of the MACD indicator depends on how you incorporate it into your trading strategy. There are two ways a crossover can take place. There can be a signal line crossover, and there can be a zero line crossover. Let's look at signal line crossovers. When the prevailing trend starts to reverse, the faster MACD line will react first and eventually crosses the signal line, resulting in the histogram changing sign. When the MACD line rises above the signal line, it's a bullish signal, which indicates it is better to enter a buy position. This is represented by the histogram turning green. When the MACD line goes below the signal line, it's a bearish signal, which indicates it is better to enter a sell position, represented by the histogram turning red. Next, we'll look at zero level crossovers. Zero level crossovers are produced when the MACD and signal line cross above or below the horizontal zero axis. This shows a change in momentum and can often foreshadow the creation of a new trend. A change from positive to negative is interpreted as a bearish signal. This would be a good opportunity to sell. Conversely, a change from negative to positive is interpreted as a bullish signal, so indicates it is better to enter a buy position. The MACD will remain positive or negative as long as there's a sustained trend. Here's a very good real-world example. Next, we'll look at divergences. Divergences occur when price separates from the MACD and they begin going in opposite directions. There are bearish, which are negative, and bullish, which are positive divergences. Bearish divergences happen when the price is trending up but the MACD heads downward. It's a sign that the strength of the prevailing price movement is decreasing and the uptrend may have reached its peak. So it would be a good opportunity to enter a sell position. A bullish divergence occurs when the price is in a downtrend but the MACD starts to rise. It can warn you that the downtrend may have reached its bottom and indicates it is better to enter a buy position. Using divergences can be an excellent way to make trading decisions. But as always, you should look for other confirmations. For example, you may decide to use candlestick patterns.